Good evening, everybody. Professor Demito here, and as promised, I thought I would give you an example. Now, mind you, this paper is not perfect by any means, but I've used this paper in the past when I have been trying to discuss different components of this particular paper. So, when you're doing a title page, you need to have your running head. That running head is going to be on every page of your paper. It's in the top left hand corner. The running head comes from words that have been used in your title. The title of the paper should reflect what the content of your paper is going to be. Now, this one, the running head has used the same verbiage as the title, and I generally don't recommend that. That the running head should just be a couple of keywords from the title, but that's okay. Then you're going to put the components that are required on the page: the university, the professor's name, your name, the date, and then you have to have down at the bottom here your signage saying that this is your work. No abstracts in these papers. Now, page 2 is the body of it starts your paper. And what I saw many people do with this particular assignment is write the word introduction as their title, or else they wrote their title with the word introduction underneath it. Don't use the word introduction. We know that that first paragraph or two is actually an introduction. The introduction introduces the reader to key points of your paper. It also defines the purpose of your paper. And I must tell you, you will never get it wrong if you write in there that the purpose of this paper is to, and then write components of the rubric in there. That clearly defines what the purpose of your paper is. And I strongly encourage all writers to include that in the first paragraph. And you can see from this, looking at this paragraph, this writer has done so. Where does she have it written here? Nurses are called upon to coordinate care and collaborate with other healthcare professionals, make critical decisions. And let's see. Okay, here we go down here. Now, introductions can be one paragraph or they can be two paragraphs. Then she has here, or whoever wrote this paper, this paper will address the leadership philosophy and role of an APN leadership style, leadership theory, and characteristics and skills of a future nurse leader. So we have two paragraphs here, and you can also see, I always use this little helper here. This is called Grammarly. Grammarly helps you use a high level language when you're writing your papers. It'll tell you when you're overusing words or words that shouldn't be placed in here. For example, look at this paragraph. See, in order to, those are considered words that shouldn't be used, so that would be removed. Here, therefore, doesn't need to be there. Now, our first heading. Headings of this nature are centered and bold with the large words capitalized. And she goes in, or he, I don't know why I keep saying she, but goes into discussing the nurses comprise the most significant component of hospital staff. As a leader, it's essential for an APN to develop a personal leadership philosophy. To be compelling and inspiring leader, an APN must have self-awareness. Self-awareness is the process of understanding one's character. So you know that the author is speaking of what she believes to be characteristics necessary to be a good leader. And she does it without having to refer to herself in the first person. So let's skip down here. Leadership style. The healthcare system is very dependent on nurses, and it will remain so for years to come. Nursing is a ministry of caring. Okay. Here's another you can see here in order has been underlined. Uh, Leadership is not about barking orders and telling people what to do. So you can tell she's speaking about, she's giving her opinion. I'm just going to keep saying her because for some reason I keep saying her. Now here, they instead view leadership as a style that enhances the personal growth of nurses, improves quality of care, and she has used a quote and she has used a page number. Now, I strongly discourage you from using quotes. However, sometimes you must, and but I would limit. I would have to say at one quote per paper maximum. I would try to go for 0. You want to paraphrase everything and cite it. Now let's go to leadership theory. And you can see how the author here, now she has another quotation in here, and so I would say, you know what? You've had too many. You got to change that. Put that into your own words and cite it. Okay. And you can see my little note here. Future should be capitalized. Leader should be capitalized here. And then a conclusion. All scholarly papers have to have a conclusion, whether it's on the rubric or not. Now, I generally recommend that the conclusion be 1 paragraph. That paragraph is going to sum up what your paper said. Never introduce new material into your conclusion. And you really don't need to use any quotes or citations in the conclusion. You're just summing up the material that you have already discussed. Then you need to have your references. And this was taken from a site, AACN Nursing. Anytime you retrieve something from a site, you need to have the title of it before retrieved from in italics. And sometimes there isn't a title, so you can refer to what the website name is, or you can refer to what the content of the site was and put that in italics. That's okay too. And you can see that that's done nicely on this paper. So I really hope that this helps. I'm going to do a similar one for the next paper, so I will have that out over the weekend sometime. And I want you all to understand the importance of being able to write a scholarly paper and why it's important, because you may say, I'm going to be a nurse practitioner, I'm not going to be writing any papers. But honestly, the ability to formulate a well-written paper using your logical reasoning and critical thinking skills is key when you go on to become a nurse practitioner. Additionally, many of you are going to go on to go into doctorate programs. You may not think so now, but you will. And one of the requirements from the get-go is to be able to write a well-written paper. You won't get any second chances when you're getting your doctorate degree. They will just hand your paper back to you and with a very poor score on it. So I feel that it's my duty to try and help you learn how to write a really good paper. So this isn't meant to be punishment, or it's not meant to be harsh. I'm trying to teach you how to develop a good, high quality graduate level paper. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And you know what I have to say also? The majority of everything I read, the content was really, really good. You just need to step up the format of it a little bit. So don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything I can do to help you. Otherwise, have a good evening.